Well, hello again everybody, and as you can probably see I'm back home now, and before I get on to the next section of the Kennet and Avon, in my last video right at the end I said I would explain my obsession with all things maritime. So here goes. When I was 6 years old, my father got a job in Kenya, or Kenya as it was then, Kenya now. And a little while later, my mother, with me 6 years old, my brother 2 years old, and my sister 6 weeks old, sailed on this ship 3 weeks to Mombasa. In 1951, we sailed round Cape of Good Hope via St Helena and the Central Islands back to the UK on long leave on the Warwick Castle. Later that year, when I was 10, we sailed back to Kenya on the Durban Castle, the sister ship to the Warwick. And then in 1954, we sailed back to Britain again, 3 weeks on the SS Leicestershire. And then at the tender age of 16, I've not changed much really, have I went to sea as a merchant navy officer or cadet officer, and there's my identity card. And I went on the MV Reconga, and we sailed Australia, New Zealand, the States, Canada, all over. And while I was on board that ship, I learned to sail in a whaler. They look like that, beautiful boats. And then when I left the sea, and I had sailing dinghies, an Enterprise, and I then had a laser, but I haven't got any photographs of that one unfortunately. And I also had two small sailing cruisers, one of which I sailed extensively around the archipelago outside Stockholm, and that one was called Treton. And then a little later I had another one, Leighton T, which I kept in Cardiff. And then I had my favourite of all, Norcella, which I bought in Scotland, sailed extensively around the Hebrides, and then eventually in 2001 sailed from Aberystwyth along the English Channel all the way round the Frisian Islands and into the Baltic and up to Finland via Stockholm, and later on I sailed all the way around the Baltic on the other coast, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. And so the water, the sea is in my blood. But now to the Kennet and Avon. Good morning, it's Thursday the 13th of August, and I've woken up to a really grey day. But I'm going to go down to Bradford-on-Avon, and we'll see if we can find somewhere to park down there and have a look at the locks. I'm in Bradford-on-Avon, and from a beautiful hot day yesterday, it is pouring with rain, and I'm getting very, very wet. And there's the River Avon, also very, very wet. But the swans and the ducks don't seem to mind. Well, it's been a bit of a trek up the hill, but must be getting close because there's a canal tavern and the lock in, and there it is, the canal, and boats moving. And into the lock.
See anything.
There's two in there, and there's a third one, and it's trying to squeeze in as well. I don't think he will though. No, he won't. I've got Canal Trust volunteers here helping you operate the locks. And as soon as you've got that gate closed over there, they'll be opening up the sluices here, the paddles. Some years ago, I hired a day boat from here and went down the canal that way. Really interesting. There's a boat like that one there. May even have been that one. Another one coming along, and they're waiting for those two boats to come out of the lock. There they go. Then they're going to go down.
Go. Yeah. Enjoy. Stays a bit drier for you. Get on or not? Go.
Well, my hopes have been dashed. Looks as if I'm going to be restricted in our boat holidays with my daughters and my wife when she's not at work. Could I ask one of those volunteers if I could have a go on the handle? And it was too painful. I could not do it properly. I maybe managed one, but not all day. So, what a terrible, terrible shame. And my arm is hurting badly. I really don't know where this is, but it's somewhere between Bedford-on-Avon and Devizes. And the banks seem to be a bit overgrown. This chap here has managed to squeeze in somewhere. There's a rather grubby sign here which tells me that sells green. And for those of you with a canal map, it's Bridge 149. I've moved on to Devizes and Bridge 141, and I'm going to go over the other side and have a look at the locks. This is Devizes, and there further down is a whole series of locks which I was hoping to get to, but there was nowhere to park unless I walked for about half a mile, so I couldn't do that. This is quite a deep lock, well over 2 meters. And that bump that I had yesterday has really shaken me. I just walked across those lock gates there, and I was unsure of myself. Well, I ended the day in Wallingford, where I used to go to school in the 1950s, and watched the kites flying overhead and swooping down onto the campsite. And it was a most enjoyable evening, and tomorrow we're off to Reading, and where the Kennet and the Thames converge, a confluence. So I'll see you tomorrow.